Hey man, we got another reaction. Man, we got Meet the Player Nobody Wanted. That boy Cam Ward. Crazy story for sure. That boy went from a 0 star to get drafted first overall. Well, that's
Place you've
crazy.
probably never been,
That boy
played for
Cam
a
Ward
school
gonna be
you've
nice
probably
though, but
never heard
Titans
of,
still
and
need to
threw
do a lot of
footballs for
work
a team
though.
that wasn't known for throwing the football. No private quarterback coach, no Elite 11 camp, no media buzz, no stars next to his name. But that's what makes this story special. Because
Went
despite
from a
all of
zero
that,
star to
or
a number
maybe
one
even
overall
because of it,
pick. Well, that's
Cam Ward
crazy.
worked his way from
That's what I'm saying.
obscurity to the
Anything
very top of
possible
the
as long as
NFL
you work
draft.
hard, bro.
Not because he was given
Anything
anything,
possible.
but because he earned it.
We've always lived in West Columbia. I went to school in West Columbia, elementary through high school. Small town, everyone knows everyone.
Before the hype, before the headlines, Cam Ward was just a kid growing up in a small Texas town with big Friday night lights.
Probably a population of about 3,000 people.
West Columbia, a quiet community just an hour south of Houston. It lived and breathed football. And in the middle of all that was a young Cam, the youngest of four in a competitive household led by Calvin and Patrice Ward. Cam's high school career didn't begin with fireworks or viral highlights. He was lined up to start as a junior under head coach Brent Maschek, whose offense was the wing T. If you're not familiar, it's a run-heavy scheme, built to
Run
ground
heavy.
and pound, not particularly
Ground
known
and
to
pound.
showcase a quarterback with a rocket. But this wasn't about holding Cam back. Maschek had a stacked backfield, and the system played to their strengths. Cam wasn't discouraged, though. He just adapted. His father, Calvin, who ran the same offense back in his day, pulled him aside and gave him a new lens to look through. He said, treat it like it's magic. The handoffs, the rollouts, the misdirection. Make the defense guess wrong every time. That mindset, it flipped the switch. Cam approached the game like a magician with the playbook, embedding creativity into the rigid
But
structure
Cam
of the
gonna be
wing T.
nice in the
He
league
learned
for
to hide
sure.
the
I'm
ball
telling
behind his
y'all,
hip,
bro.
to
He gonna
sell
be
fakes with
nice,
his
bro.
eyes, to turn deception into an art form. And even though he wasn't throwing
Like
for
he gonna
30
be the
times a
future of the
game,
league,
the
bro.
lesson stuck. To this day, those sleight of hand instincts are still baked into how he plays. The subtle head fakes, the delay before the deep shot, the patience in the pocket. Yeah, it all started here. However, by the end of his senior year, Cam was a
Damn,
zero-star
zero
recruit.
star.
Not a single ranking. Not a single star next to his name. No offers from Blue Bloods, no late calls, just
So you gotta keep on
silence.
working,
But
bro. You gotta
then,
keep working.
something shifted. Okay, so look, when
That
you're out
hard
there
work gonna
grinding, the
pay
last
off.
thing you want
I'm
to worry
telling you.
about is whether your gear can keep up. That's where Phenom Elite comes in. This stuff isn't just made to look good, it's made to work. Gloves with a stick-like glue grip, cleats that feel like part of your foot, compression that actually fits right. They built a brand that understands what today's athlete needs. Whether you're gearing up for 7-on-7s, pushing through summer workouts, nothing flashy just to be flashy. Every detail has a purpose. And the best part? You can get 20% off your order right now. Just use the code ASC20 at checkout. That's code ASC20. Hit the link in the description below, scroll
Hey
through the
man, I
gear,
ain't trying to
and
be
you'll see why
disrespectful,
more and
but
more
I came here
athletes
for
are making
Cam.
the
Boy, I ain't
switch.
come here for all
Town,
that, bro.
Cam finally caught a break.
I had some big time schools watch me throw the ball. Ended up having one offer, Incarnate Word.
Only
A
one
small
offer,
FCS
bro.
program barely on the national radar.
Incarnate
Their
world.
head coach, Eric
Damn.
Morris, had once coached guys like Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. So when Morris saw Cam spin the ball during the throwing session, it stopped him in his tracks. There was something there. Raw, yeah, but electric.
Brrr.
So I took that offer. Started off as a third string there.
Damn,
I had to
third
work my way
string.
up.
John Copeland had already carved his name into the school's record books. A proven starter with back-to-back 3,000-yard seasons. The safe bet?
Damn, boy, that's crazy. This nigga was third string, 0 star, and they had drafted in the first round, breaking records in college. Boy, that's crazy.
Back with Copeland. Why risk it, right? But Cam wasn't interested in waiting around. Before he ever stepped foot on the campus, he made a promise to his dad. He was gonna win the job. And the moment he arrived on campus, he literally went straight to the head coach's office, walked in and said, I'm going to be the starting quarterback this year, and left. No debate, no bravado, just a quiet
Hey, he
conviction.
just know.
Quite
He just
honestly,
know
it
what.
should have
He
been a
just
long
know what
shot.
he gonna
The team
do.
was barely practicing. Their 2020 season, like everybody else's, was mostly shut down by the COVID-19 pandemic. They were limited to 4 practices a week, and without real games, the depth chart seemed locked in place. But then, opportunity struck. Arkansas State, a Division I FBS program, reached out about playing a late season game in November. So, UIW accepted. Suddenly, they had a game to prep for. And Morris turned the opportunity into a quarterback competition, and that's all Cam needed. The team started to gravitate towards him. Day by day, he wasn't just earning the job, he was taking it over. Unfortunately, though, the game against Arkansas never happened. A COVID outbreak hit the UIW roster the week of the trip, and the team never even got on the plane. But the decision had already been made. Cam Ward, that zero-star recruit no one wanted, was now the starting quarterback. Cam had gone from invisible to undeniable. In just 2 seasons, he transformed Incarnate Ward's offense into one of the most explosive in all of FCS.
That's what I'm saying. Anything can happen,
yards
bro.
passing and 47 total touchdowns in 2021 alone.
Damn,
His
47.
arm talent was undeniable. His poise under pressure, unshakable. And his story, just beginning. For Cam, the original plan was to stay at UIW all 4 years, build something special, finish what he started. But that changed when Eric Morris, the coach who saw something in him when no one else
Washington State,
accepted the offensive coordinator job at Washington State. It felt like a signal. So, Cam entered the transfer portal, not just to follow Morris, but to see how far he could take this second chance. And unlike
this
the
when he
last time he was
turned
on the
up at
recruiting
too
trail,
at Washington
this
State.
time,
This when he
a lot
turned
more
up.
people came calling. 15 programs, all big names, all offering starting roles, all suddenly seeing the talent that had been there all along. Even Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss made an aggressive push. The Wards were flown into Oxford and treated like royalty. The NIL offers were big, the spotlight even bigger. But Cam, he never forgot. He remembered the coaches who overlooked him. The empty inbox on signing day, the camps he wasn't invited to. And just as clearly, he remembered who did show up. Coach Eric Morris.
He like, damn, y'all ain't want me now, so why y'all want me? Y'all ain't want me before, so why y'all want me now? I'm sticking with the coach who wanted me before. That's
Washington
real.
State couldn't match Ole Miss financially.
One of my biggest dreams was to road trip Europe in a van, and I actually
Come on, I
attempted
don't
it
care
2
about
years
you laying
ago,
on no
but,
mattress,
I was
man. Get back to the
mentally
video.
Not even close.
Damn, bro.
But they had something else. Loyalty. And for Cam, that meant more than money. So he packed his bags and followed his coach to Pullman, Washington, nearly 2,000 miles from home, to bet on the man who had bet on him first.
Okay, then. Dot.
By the time the 2023 season ended, Cam Ward had done everything Washington State could have asked, and then some.
And Ward can run out that pocket, too, though. He got some legs
In 2
on him, too.
seasons, he completed 65.5% of his passes for nearly 7,000 yards, threw 48 touchdowns and ran for 13 more, and gave the Cougars national relevance they hadn't seen in years. He was dynamic, he was efficient, and he was still getting better. But now came the question that every college star eventually faces. Was it time to go pro?
We've got some clarity on the quarterback portal. Cam Ward, moments ago on Instagram, said he's declaring for the NFL draft. Now, I just spoke to his dad within the last 10 minutes, Calvin Ward. He told me his son is not going to immediately sign with an agent, which could give him the option.
No, you got to play that one
he
more
will
year.
start training with Will Hewlett, the quarterback trainer, tomorrow.
Cam believed the answer should have been yes. The 2024 NFL draft was loaded with quarterback talent. 6 of them went in the first 12 picks. And in his mind, he belonged in that group. Top 10 even. But the NFL didn't quite see it the same way. Scouts told him he was more likely to land somewhere in the mid-rounds, maybe late day 2.
Yeah, but I'm glad you into that 2024 draft, because you was not going to go first round,
Day
but
3.
I
It
ain't
wasn't
gonna lie.
disrespect, though. It was business. The league wanted to see more polish, more consistency, more control.
You had to
And
put in
then,
more work. Yeah, you
Miami
had. I'm
called.
glad you stayed
The
that another
Hurricanes
year.
had talent. They had a national stage. They just needed a quarterback to tie everything together. Cam had 1 year of eligibility left.
Boy, did
One more shot.
that all work
Look,
out,
he could
boy.
have declared. He could have left the chips where they fell. But that's never been his story. Cam's path has always been the long way around. So instead of chasing the draft, he chose one last stop, one last season, to leave no doubt.
Throw it for the first time. Looks one way, back the other, lofts it over the
That boy Elijah
Wide open
Arroyo.
man, it's Elijah Arroyo, one of those tight ends, and what a start for Miami.
Cam's season at Miami was nothing
That boy
short
was
of
scrap. I can't
electric.
believe this nigga went
He threw for
undrafted, but he playing with his quarterback,
4,313
though.
yards, breaking the school's single-season passing record. He added 39 touchdowns
That's
through the
crazy.
air,
You
ran
playing,
for 5.
you playing with a nigga that you broke records with in college, and now y'all on the same NFL team. That's some legendary shit
It led
right there.
Miami to a 10-3 season, their best in years. He was named a Heisman finalist and won the Davey O'Brien Award as the top quarterback in college football. Cam Ward established himself as
I ain't gonna lie, Hurricane would be better than that. It's really y'all defense that was holding y'all back. Y'all had a good defense. Y'all would have made the playoffs for sure.
draft
It was
class's
y'all
premier
defense, bro.
quarterback.
Y'all ain't have no defense. Y'all defense was cheeks, boy.
He reminds me of Mahomes with how he can be
Y'all offense, y'all
unconventional,
had it,
throw
boy.
the
Y'all had
football from
Jacoby
all
George. Y'all
different kinds of
had
weird
Rowe.
angles,
Y'all had
and
Damian
then just put a
Martinez,
bunch
boy.
of horsepower on it when he needs to.
The
Y'all had
added
Cam
experience of the
Ward,
final college season helped. But Cam and his
Chris
circle believed it
Johnson,
was more about the bigger
Mark
spotlight
Fletcher.
than
But y'all
anything
had them
else.
plugs, boy.
However, Cam has been ready for the NFL. The world just finally woke up and realized it. So, on April 24th, 2025, the NFL world turned its attention to Nashville. The Titans held the #1 overall pick, not through a blockbuster trade or anything like that. Just the results of a rough season that ended with the franchise reset.
With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the
Tennessee
Tennessee Titans select Cameron Ward, quarterback, Miami.
Damn.
So the expected is now official. And Cam Ward
Hey,
And
let
just
it
like
all
that,
out. You deserve
the
that
best
shit,
player
my
no
boy.
one cared about became the cornerstone of a
Yeah,
franchise.
you just gotta keep putting in
Ward
that
didn't come
work,
from
bro.
a blue blood program. He didn't play in the college football playoff. But the Titans, they weren't interested in optics. They were interested in ability. And they saw in Cam Ward a quarterback with elite tools,
I mean, the Titans ain't had no
poise,
choice to
and the
pick
type
them.
of
What y'all
chip on
gonna
his shoulder that could
run it
ignite
back
a
with
locker
Mayo?
room.
Y'all gonna go
In a football
3-14
world
again.
obsessed with hype, stars, social media
Everybody
followers,
knew Titans gonna
Cam
pick
Ward's
Cam
rise
Ward. That was
reminds us
obvious.
that talent doesn't always come dressed in 5-star packaging. He was overlooked because he didn't throw enough in high school, because he went to a school with a funny name, because
Yeah.
he didn't have a Nike deal at
Yeah, that's
7.
what people saying. People think you tried because you ain't playing at a big school. Like, people see you playing at a small school, they be like, oh, he tried. Ah, just
Because
because
he
it ain't a
wasn't part
big
of the
name
machine.
school, I don't mean you
But Ward's
tried.
game speaks louder than any billboard. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, not because he wants revenge.
I ain't like this one. I
Because he
knew
knows
he
what
was
it
the
took to
truth
get
though.
here.
That Florida game,
Every
this one I
snap
knew
is
he
a
was the
statement.
truth, boy.
Every pass is
Damn, they
proof.
beat the shit out of Florida. They showed
Now
who the
he's in
real Florida
Tennessee.
team is, nigga.
This is
That's
Cam's
swamp,
team.
nigga.
He'll have growing pains like all rookies do. But don't bet against this guy. Because if there's one thing we've learned about Cam Ward, is that he doesn't fold, he doesn't flinch, and
That
he
boy
doesn't
so
need your
nonchalant
approval
with
to
it
become
too.
great. In fact, he thrives on it.
Yeah, but good video, man. That boy Cam Ward gonna be straight though. He gonna be straight.